Hello friends, we're here for our weekly garden stroll, sip and stroll. It is a sip and stroll today, in which I look like garbage on a video and take you around a garden that is not looking great. We're gonna get to that in a second. First I have two bits of mail from people. By the way, if you are new here, this is, we are walking through my southeastern Wisconsin garden, which is zone 5B or 6A, depending on new zone maps. And these are unedited videos. So basically I put them up more or less the way they come out of the camera. And sometimes we have some wonderful viewer mail. So this is from Diane. Hi Erin, when we visited Mount Fuji this summer, we expected to see the lavender fields, but we were pleasantly surprised to see the perennial gardens surrounding the lavender. They had an abundance of our favorite Midwest flowers. Wonderful for photo ops. I even saw Verbena Bampton on a side street. Ooh, we can look at that in a second. Thank you for all you do on your YouTube channel. Enjoy your humor and education. Sincerely, Diane Harris. I think this might be her, maybe this is her YouTube name, Up North 21. Well, first of all, Mount Fuji, how amazing. I bet that was a fantastic trip. She also attached some additional photos. So that looks like Monarda, maybe? Here we've got some lilies. Some, is that Rudbeckia or sunflowers? Absolutely gorgeous. Thank you for sharing, Diane. That's amazing. Bet that was a spectacular trip. Oh, there's some seeds. Okay, this is from Pam. Pam writes quite a bit. Thank you, Pam. I so appreciate you sharing all your travels with us. Hi, Erin. Another stop on the AHS Reciprocal Garden Tour. We drove. We drove out to the Cape and strolled through Heritage Museum and Gardens in Sandwich, Massachusetts during their Hydrangea Festival. They have an incredible display garden as well as test gardens that they included this mop head called Froggy. Stellar year for hydrangeas here in the Northeast, from Pam. That's kind of cool. And then she included, oh wow, this will be fun. She included some of the information from the self-guided tour and the Hydrangea Festival. A lot of people went to that this year. It looked absolutely amazing. And she included some basil seeds. Thank you so much for that. So I think this might be a little bit of a shorter tour. We'll see. Because I haven't made a video since last week's tour. And honestly, I haven't done a lot in the, oh no. I haven't done a lot. Sorry. I dropped, oh my gosh, I got a case of the dropsies here. I haven't done a lot in the garden either. Since I was gone for a week and I'm just getting back, I've really spent most of my time this past week in the office, to be honest. So I'm feeling, I'm gonna try not to let this be like a Debbie Downer kind of video. I'm feeling a little defeated in the garden right now. And I'm just putting that out there to be like incredibly blunt about what I feel like is happening in the garden. While there are moments that I think are really, really good and I'm really happy with them, and primarily that falls with the containers. I'm actually really happy with how the containers are looking. There are other things that I see, like every part of the garden that I look at needs attention. And so I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed with that. And then worse yet, some of the stuff that I feel needs attention is stuff that I can't fix. So it's not just edging or plopping a plant in here or there. Like I look around the garden and so many leaves are just incredibly damaged from slugs. Like all of the Ligularia, I feel like they just look so pockmarked and terrible. And then today I noticed the deer, I mean, I just sprayed a week ago. I spray every week. We've not had any rain. There's no reason why the deer should have had a moment, but tell them that. And I'm noticing that like they mowed down an entire area of hostas and I just have hosta sticks. And I can't fix that. And that is, I'm just feeling a little frustrated. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But let's go around, take a look at the garden, I'll try to hit on some of the things that are new. Now, I have done a couple of things, and what we're going to start with is things I do that you shouldn't do until we figure out if they work. So let's just start over by the big banana container over here. Okay, so in last week's video, I mentioned that one of the two, there's two dahlias in here, this one and this one. Well, not that one, a different one. One of these, the one that was over here, definitely was showing signs of mosaic virus. It was, I mean, I think this one actually, this one doesn't look too bad now, but you can kind of see some of this weird coloring on here. That very well could be mosaic virus. And this is actually the same variety as that other one was. The other one was very bad. So I pulled it out and I transplanted a dahlia. So I went over here and I grabbed one of these Melody Doros, which is this one right here. Really, really beautiful. You can see the hole where I dug it out. We'll have to deal with the hole. So I transplanted a dahlia and I'm like, boy, I don't know if this is a good idea. And it was in flower. So this is that dahlia. And what I did was I cut off all the flowers. I cut off almost all the buds. There's a couple left up here and one here. I cut off about half of the foliage of this dahlia. And actually so far it seems to be working well, but I didn't want to make a video about that because this is not recommended. Like this is pretty, I feel like this is pretty sketchy. So I'll let you know how that works. So far it looks good, but listen, we got a long road to go on that. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you was, you know, things I do that you shouldn't do, probably. We do have a few dahlias blooming, not a lot. We talked about this last week, I think. Again, we showed these last week. This is First Love and Melody Doro, and now you can see the big hole where I pulled one out there. We'll find something. There's holes. We got holes everywhere. Clematis, for the most part, are still doing really well. Again, this one is such a really pretty one. Again, I showed you this last week, but it's looking even better now. Nothing has changed over here really from last week, except the bobos really are showing off really nicely. So I'm very happy with the bobos this year. I think this is what you get with bobo. Like you just get a plant that is just covered in flowers. Now pufferfish, I do have a pufferfish. It's in probably not the best spot, so it's not a good comparison. I think pufferfish is smaller than bobo. It's a newer variety for sure. Again, I don't want to hit on all the same spots I did last year, but I do want to hit on some things that are looking good. And I do think the front border is looking pretty good. I'm really happy I went back to putting some Nicotiana. This is perfume lime and then perfume white. Very happy they put those in there. I'm going to come through those. Some of those Nicotiana need to be staked back a little bit so that we can let some of these other flowers come through. And I am happy. I did go up and do a little bit of maintenance on the window box, trying to pull a few things forward. Like for instance, this helichrysum, I sort of pulled this through here because I like the helichrysum when it's growing through things. And you can see if you look up there, finally the Fiona Sunrise Jasmine is actually really starting to go. We're beautiful summer temperatures, beautiful summer weather this week, which is certainly helping these plants grow. I pruned this pot back rather significantly because it was the Plectranthus in particular was really getting rangy. Also, you might remember there were lilies behind here, Royal Sunset lilies. I've cut all those back. They were done blooming. This was a, shoot, what was it? I bet you there's a tag in here. Let's see. Yes, there is. This was a Nemesia. It was essential cherry berry. And it was beautiful. And when I planted in there, I said, you know, the Nemesias that I know don't really do well after spring. And this one, I thought maybe it was a new variety. Well, I think we can see how the Nemesia did. It's dead. And I don't see that plant coming back in fall. So, Lilac Days. sort of a short climber from Proven Winners. And I shared this on Instagram, but last night I came home and this is part of the defeat that I'm feeling a little bit. So this beautiful poppy was done blooming, but I grow the poppies as much for the seed heads as I do for the flowers. And someone came and got all these. Someone actually said they had a squirrel do it, and to me, a lot of people said just look for the like stoned animal that's around, but somebody said squirrels. It's weird to me that a squirrel could get up there. There's no other sign that deer have been in here, although who knows anymore, I don't know. I wish the Melianthus would start growing a little bit, but let's just say it's gonna work on its own time. This is Bronze Queen Nicotiana. Isn't that gorgeous? It's really beautiful. There should be a few of those dotted throughout. I've been revamping this corner. I think this is a corner. I revamp this corner every single year. I'm never satisfied with what it is. We'll see if it works this time once it actually looks like something. I want to skip over across the creek here so I can show you the other thing that I did that you shouldn't do. I don't know if it was last week or a couple of weeks ago that I mentioned that I was unhappy with how these hanging baskets were faring in terms of how I had lined them. And I asked for some thoughts on that, and you guys were very nice in the comments. And this morning I repotted them. I pulled all the plants out and I repotted them, and that is another probably not recommended things to do. So first let me show you where we went with. So this is what I pulled out of the smaller basket. So this was, I suppose pointing the camera at this would work. This was what I had in there, and it was like these moss sheets, but they were like paper backed, and I clearly was not using them properly. So all the moss came off of them, and then this one was lined with a cocoa liner. So I did buy actual sheet moss. I'm just drawing a couple of sheets here that I didn't use for this project. So then what I did was I took some of this deer netting right here, and I lined the basket with a deer netting, which I thought would help hold that sheet moss in. So this was just this morning that I did this. So I came in here and I lined it with the deer netting and then lined it with the sheet moss. And I actually had some sphagnum moss too. So I did throw some sphagnum moss in a few spots too, just for a little variation, like you can see it right here. And if you look closely here, you can probably see the deer netting. You cannot see that unless you are right up next to it. And then I sort of flipped some over the edges too, because I didn't want that like raw edge. Probably could have done that a little neater. I was in a little bit of a hurry. Anyway, so now these plants have been fully repotted. Not many of them had rooted that well, to be honest. So maybe it won't matter, and I will have to keep up on the watering. But I think this one on the ground is looking so, I actually think they're all looking really good, assuming I haven't killed them. So I'm really happy with how this is looking. I'm very happy I threw the yellow in there. It needed that yellow color in there. So again, very happy with it, but you know, it's a lot of trauma in the middle of summer to rip plants out of the pot they've been growing in and then put them back in. I do need to come in here and mulch, which I think would help this area, but it's feeling quite sparse to me. I'm debating making a run down to Roy Diblick's place, Northwind Perennial Farm, tomorrow morning and buying a whole bunch of plants. Because right now all I'm seeing is, I don't know, I'm just seeing things that I don't want to see. However, the stackies, this is Humalo, is blooming well, and there's quite a bit of coreopsis popping up through here, which Roy had put in. I've said before, I'm not a huge Coreopsis fan. It's actually very pretty in here, and I think it's very pretty with the combined with the Summer Beauty alliums. There's a couple different kinds of alliums in here, but Summer Beauty is the main one. But actually, I'm really digging that sort of golden yellow with the kind of lavender color. I don't even know who I am that I would say that, but I think it's really pretty. And of course, this garden gets so much really beautiful sun. Like the sun just comes right across here. It's so pretty in here. Prairie dropseed. Is that what this is? Oh my gosh, I swear my brain has left the building. It's not prairie dropseed, it's Dischampia goldtau. Is flowering and looks so beautiful. So ethereal and beautiful, such a good grass. Okay, oh, I was gonna show you Verbena Bampton, but we'll do that. Why don't we swing by the vegetable garden, because we did not visit there last week. I pulled my garlic this week, and oh, the sweet peas are looking beautiful. And it was a pretty good harvest, not quite as good as last year. So I actually ordered my garlic already for next year, and I ordered twice as much. And I'm just gonna do a whole bed of garlic next year. I got room for onions somewhere else. I'm just gonna do a whole bed. Here's the herb bed. Oh gosh. Look at those Japanese beetles just munching away on the strawberry leaves. Check out our peppers down here. We've got a few little guys. Isn't this funny? Look at this. So this is I think this is a Potapino maybe. But look, there's one tiny little red guy stuck on there. My neighbors harvested. We had a whole bunch of peppers on, and I told them to take them when I was out of town, so they didn't go to waste. Beans. Should be thinking about producing a bean soon, green beans. Also, oh gosh, I gotta get my soapy water over here, because who knew the Japanese beetles went for green beans, but they clearly are going for them. I need to come over here. Right as soon as this video is done, we're gonna do some Japanese beetle removal. I've had 2 cucumbers so far, but the cucumbers are looking pretty good, I think. I do like kind of training them up. Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of cucumbers on. I like training them up this trellis. I just kind of weave them in and out. Works well. Let's just take a look at some sweet peas. Oh, they're really beautiful. And I'll smell them for you. Yep, still smell good. Pink ones with some beautiful Madame Butterfly snapdragons and more Nigella than anyone could ever want or need, because that's what Nigella does. For whatever reason, these sweet peas are not looking as good, but they're still flowering. And it looks like this one I ended up with a lot of whites. I don't know how that happened. A fair number of apples on, despite the fact that we do have a lot of galls. And this is Liberty apple, which is supposed to be generally resistant, but it's cedar apple rust. And we had such a wet spring. Everyone has cedar apple rust. Whether you sprayed or not, I don't think it mattered. Everybody has cedar apple rust on everything this year. So this is what cedar apple rust looks like when it's on an apple. And these are the galls. You'll see these like little spiny things. And there's nothing you can really do about it. You can prevent it, but once it's there, it's kind of there. It won't affect the tree. It'll be fine. I probably should have sprayed earlier than I did for that, but you know, that's what happens. Here's the winter squash. Well, no, all the squash, because that's a zucchini in the back. Ford Hork zucchini, is that what it's called? Zucchini, no, it's not. It's Rocchio. They're kind of big ones, but they taste good. And this is, what is this one called? Golden Griller. This is a squash down here. That's a yellow one. Quite beautiful, actually. So we've had a little bit of production from there. Some of the sweet potatoes have decided to do something. Many have not. And I have here, oh good, we get to eat a tomato. I mean, look, we've even got like some disease on some of the tomatoes, although that's not abnormal this time of year. I've only had cherry tomatoes from that sweet orange too, and there's another one on the back here, but I don't think there's any ready. So that's all we have for tomatoes so far. Oh, we have some dahlias. I planted some dahlias. I gotta pay attention to where I'm pointing the camera. Sorry about that. I planted some dahlias along in here, and then I guess some weeds came. This is Labyrinth. These were sort of extras. In fact, maybe I could grab one of these and put it in where I'm missing one. This is one of the seedlings from Floret. This is the first one to bloom. This was the Petite Floret seeds from Floret. I think that's a very beautiful dahlia. I think that's really, I mean, the yellow is a little bit acidy citron, but so far, like this is one that I will probably mark to save the tuber of, because I think it's really pretty. We have two pairs, but they'll be delicious if they make it till then. The pears are tough to keep from the squirrels. Okay, let's move along. A lot of the thalictrum, meadow rue, is blooming. And a lot of these are splendid, which is a great variety. I don't know that this is necessarily that, but you can see it's got the little flowers on it. This is coming into its own a little bit here. We looked at the Monarda and the Liatris last week. I did order some plant plugs to try to line this path a little bit nicer, pop some things in there. Transparent Millennia is starting to flower. These will get like 6 feet tall. There's another one over there. They'll get like 6 feet tall. So on this grass, the foliage will stay weeping at the bottom, and then the flowers will extend up quite high. And it's truly transparent. I'm gonna actually take a shortcut through the garden, which I don't allow guests to do. Some of the echinops, this is, I think, Star Frost, are starting to look nice. I think you either like this plant or you think this plant looks like a giant weed. And I would say most of my neighbors think it's a weed. I think it's quite pretty and quite attractive with really interesting flowers. And if you cut them, they are gorgeous in bouquets. And then I thought this was also, I guess maybe this is a Star Frost as well. I don't know, I guess maybe I like flowers that look a little dangerous. Oh, check this out. There's a little cardinal flower popping up. Excuse me, Veronicastrum. Check out the cardinal flower popping up here. I don't remember planting that. I'm sure I did, but it's beautiful. Beautiful, bright red, gorgeous. Well, see, there's something nice. I have got to get over here and cut down this bronze fennel, which is beautiful, but I do not need a seedy mess over here. So on the agenda probably for tomorrow is that. We looked at the Pygnathema muticum, blunt mountain mint, last week. Let's take a stroll over by the main garden. We ended up having to cage this pagoda dogwood, because for whatever reason, I mean, the pagoda dogwoods at the end of the driveway, granted they're bigger, but I don't ever remember the deer going after them as bad. This one, they were, you know, it's like on the cusp of not enough foliage there to even bother with. So we ended up caging this one because I just don't think there's a way for it to survive otherwise. By the way, soft serve Chamaecyparis, I am so happy I got those. I mean, knock on wood, the deer have not touched them, although I do spray everything in here. And I think this is the most beautiful foliage, and it seems to be doing quite well. I wouldn't say they put on a ton of growth, but they're also not a fast-growing tree, and they were just planted a year ago. What has put on a ton of growth here are these three. These are Norway spruces, the columnar one. Cupressina is the variety name. And so the one in the back was a 7-footer and these other two were 6-footers. And I think you can see if you just look at like the tops of them. I mean, that's just the growth they've put on. That's 2.5 feet of growth. What is that, just this year that would be? So but I think Norway spruces really are happy here. So they are clearly very happy and growing quickly. Supposedly they only get 6 feet wide. I'll bet you they get wider than that. We'll see. And, you know, the neighbor's construction is ongoing. They're doing their darndest to get moving on it. But there's a lot of weeds on sort of their side. And I've been pulling a lot of the weeds through here because they're just not here that much because it's under construction. But I'm not gonna, see that thistle over there? I'm not dealing with that. I think I showed you this container last week and showed you that this Fatshedera angiostar is putting on a ton of growth. Overwintered inside last year. I think that's a gorgeous plant. The climbing hydrangea is also putting on growth. And I'm going to take a ladder and I'm going to cut off all those shoots that are going up over the roof because I don't want it growing across the roof. Also, this is, well, heck, I have a tag right here because I just planted another one. Tiny quickfire. These are tiny quickfires. These are super itty bitty hydrangeas. So I use them right at the front of the border. I found one on sale. So this is actually 3 of them right here. And so I planted this one today because I was at a nursery earlier this week and they had 20% off of their shrubs. So I put one of those in there. Look, it's a zinnia that has survived so far this year. Amazing. I'm calling the gutter Mr. Much More Patience garden because he keeps saying he's going to get up there and clean that out. And every day I'm like, well, pretty soon you're going to pull out those weeds and it's going to come out in one fell swoop. So I have a lot of work planned in the garden and I am going to make some videos about it. But one of the things we're going to do is prune up this viburnum that's straight in front of you right here, which is looking beautiful, but it's a monolith. And I don't find that very interesting. So we're going to do some selective pruning. It is not the best time to be doing pruning. This is not rejuvenation pruning. This is going to be pruning, I think, to get some air in there to probably limit up a little bit. I'm going to probably prune a little bit. You can see, I actually started bringing it up a little bit from the bottom. And so I'm going to get some plants to actually grow in there. Because it's just a big block. In the back, by the way, which we haven't really looked at because, well, this garden has just been neglected this year. The hornbeams are looking, these are, this is, oh, you guys. This is European hornbeam. This is not American hornbeam. American hornbeam I have growing over in the mixed hedge over there. But these are all European hornbeams. And I don't remember how, so this first bunch, the first initial 5 or 6 were planted, I don't know, a while ago. And I've really been trying to get them to thicken up. And I think you can see that they are, finally. So we're basically touching, and the idea is a wall. I haven't done any pruning in summer. There's clematis growing up, at least one of them that I can see there. There's clematis growing up. There's like, if you're a tree in this yard, you're gonna have a clematis on you. Look at this beautiful rose. Look at that gorgeous, this is Rosa glauca. Everything's been attacking this too, but it has this beautiful foliage. And it does get a small pink flower, but it does grow in part shade. You don't need to have this in full sun. And I think it's a beautiful plant. I saw it at the Chicago Botanic Garden 2 years ago, and I just thought, gotta have it. There are some really pretty foxgloves blooming right now. Dalmatian peach foxgloves. These are grown from seed this year. Even though this is a biennial, if you start the seeds early enough and you get them out, they will bloom first year. We've got a dahlia that needs some staking there, but that one overwintered. Yeah, so I think, oh, here, verbena, here's one verbena Bampton right here. So hard to see on a screen because it's so fine. So it's it just kind of looks like a mess, but it does get these tiny little flowers on the end. But the prettier one is over here. And it's been reseeding for me well, so I don't try to start it from seed anymore because I find it difficult to grow from seed. But once you have a plant, it seems to do really well. So I love it here because on the top is this thalictrum that has flopped over, and at the bottom is the verbena Bampton, and I think they're such good partners there. This is Tough Stuff Aha, or just Aha, Proven Winners. Hydrangea. So I think my plan for the next, well, it's for tomorrow, and I'll be doing a video on it, is, let me turn the camera around. So I think my plan is to load up my trusty wagon with everything, like load it up with every tool I need, with staking material, with pruners and everything, and fertilizer, so that I can just go to one area of the garden and I can do everything I see that needs doing in one fell swoop without having to run to the garage to go get fertilizer or go get something to stake something. In fact, I lost a dahlia in this area this morning. It was flopped over, and when I tried to stand it back up, the whole stem broke off, and I'm heartbroken about it because I think it was one of the ones that I kind of hunted down and bought. So I'm quite heartbroken that happened. So I just think, like, in order to, we're gonna take this sort of one chunk at a time and just do everything that needs doing in one little area of the garden, and then have it all with me so I can just kind of run through it all. That's my plan. We'll see. All right, well, I think we're gonna call it good there, because like I said, not much has changed in the garden since last week, particularly since I've been doing very little in the garden, which is, you know, I guess that happens sometimes. I will keep you informed as to how that dahlia works and how those hanging baskets work, so that you know whether it's safe to do that. Because again, not recommended, but I'm testing it out for you so you know. All right, that's it from here. Sorry for no videos last week. We'll change that for this week. By the way, I do have a video I shot, oh gosh, a month and a half ago. Maybe I can get that edited. It's pretty interesting. It's just kind of a beast to edit together. And the farther you get from filming it, the harder it is to edit it, because you can't even remember what you shot anymore. So it's not good practice to do that. All right, hope you guys are all having a great day in your garden. I'll tell you one thing. I'm not thrilled with the garden, but I am thrilled with the weather. It's gorgeous. I'm so loving summer. I enjoy it very much. So that part is great. So hope you're finding something good in your garden, and hopefully a lot of good. We will see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.